Hey guys, welcome back. So I did an unboxing and first impressions video of the PG270 Pro like a month ago, right? But the last couple of weeks have been really hectic, so I wasn't able to film my review until now. And of course, if you want to check out that unboxing video, I'll put a link to that in the video description below. So anyway, let's talk about the specs of the Prism Plus PG270 Pro. Alright, so this is a 1440p gaming monitor, right? So it has a resolution of 2560 by 1440. Now it has a 27-inch IPS panel, which I think really is the sweet spot for 1440p gaming right now. Now it has a response time of 1 milliseconds G2G, as well as a refresh rate of 180 Hz. Now it also supports AMD FreeSync and is also G-Sync compatible, although it's not as straightforward as you may think, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Now in terms of ports, you get two HDMI 2.0 ports as well as two DisplayPort 1.4 ports. Now to use FreeSync or G-Sync, just remember to use the DisplayPort connectors and not the HDMI. And of course, FreeSync will be disabled by default, alright? So do remember to enable them in the monitor settings. And also, this monitor does not have built-in speakers, alright? But if I were to be totally honest, I couldn't care less. Because even the cheapest computer speakers that you can buy will still sound better than any speaker built into any monitor. Alright, so looking at the design of the PG270 Pro, I would say it's good. Not too flashy. It got that signature zero bezel design and will definitely be just as home in your office as it will be in your gaming setup. And if you think about it, that's great because a lot more people are working from home. And you want your computer equipment to be a lot more flexible. Now, having said that, it does have LED illumination at the back of the monitor, but it's a single blue color and not RGB. Now, one great feature about the PG270 Pro is that it has a fully adjustable stand, alright? So this monitor can be raised, can be lowered, you can tilt, you can pan it, and you can even rotate it and use it in portrait mode. Just remember to tilt the monitor up first before rotating it, otherwise the corner of the monitor is going to hit the legs of the stand. Now, having full adjustability on the monitor is actually more important than you might think, alright? Now, having the monitor positioned too low can cause you to slouch and also causes issues like eye strain, carpal tunnel, neck pain, just to name a few, alright? So the fact that you're starting to see this sort of features in budget gaming monitors is fantastic and honestly really needed. So performance-wise, I think it does its job and does it really well. And again, like I said, it's extremely versatile, alright? You get a really good gaming experience. The high refresh rate really does make a huge difference. And the fast response time does also obviously play a part. Now, even with a response time of like 1 millisecond G2G, which by the way means gray to gray, I did notice some ghosting, minimal ghosting, and unfortunately I couldn't capture it on the camera because I shoot at like 24 FPS. However, the key word here is minimal, right? I found it to be, sort of well within the acceptable margins and still performs really impressively for the price. And also, it worked really well for me for my video editing. So this monitor covers like 120% of the sRGB color gamut, right? So it was good enough for me to do the work that I do. However, guys who produce more color sensitive work than what I usually do, I can't say for sure. And speaking of color, right, I thought it looked good. I didn't have any complaints, right? Whether I was playing games or watching videos, I really enjoyed it and didn't notice anything that affected my experience negatively. Now, the one thing that I always seem to forget to talk about is backlight bleed, right? So for those who are not familiar with it, backlight bleed is an effect on the panel where the light sort of leaks around the edges of the screen, making it a little bit unevenly lit. Now, the one thing I have to make very clear is that backlight bleed on LCD monitors is almost impossible to eliminate, alright? You may have monitors with less backlight bleed than others, but because of the nature of how LED and LCD panels work, it will always be there. So the real issue is whether it's obvious during regular use, and for the PG270 Pro, you definitely do get a bit of backlight bleed around the edges, a bit more maybe I saw like on the top right hand corner. But from my testing, you don't notice it at all while gaming. In fact, you would have to turn the brightness all the way up, switch the lights off in your room, and show like a full black image before you can actually see it, which is not a normal use case of this monitor by any stretch of the imagination. Now, the only time that I found it a bit obvious was when I was watching like a video that is letterbox. So meaning that, you know, you get those black bars at the top and the bottom. And even then, because you're not focusing on the black bars, you're focusing on the video, it's not really an issue for me either. So is there anything I don't like about this monitor? Well, for the most part, no. I think it is a perfectly good budget gaming monitor that doubles up brilliantly as a monitor for everyday use, you know, and even office work as well. So my issue is this. Now, the PG270 Pro does have a native refresh rate of 180 Hz, alright? And yes, it does support AMD FreeSync and is G-Sync compatible. However, when you go to the monitor settings, the FreeSync option is grayed out and you can't enable it, right? Once you bring it up to 180 Hz, alright? So the major caveat here is that for FreeSync to be enabled on the monitor, you have to dial down the refresh rate to 165 Hz, alright? Only once you dial it down, then you can enable FreeSync on the monitor. Now, if I were to be perfectly honest, it didn't really affect me in any way other than maybe playing like esport titles like CSGO or less graphic intensive games. Now, the reason is that almost none of the games that I play can hit 165 FPS, let alone 180 FPS at 1440p. Like even Dota 2, which is a game that I play the most frequently, my PC, I can only get about 150, 155 FPS, but that's at the highest graphic settings. So do remember that your GPU also plays a major consideration, right, when buying a gaming monitor. But anyway, here's the thing. There is no mention of this on the product page, all right? Not even on the technical specification section of it. And I looked all over, I couldn't find it. Now, I'm not saying that Prism Plus left it out on purpose, all right? Because it doesn't really help them in any way to leave it out, all right? So I'm really confident that this is just probably an oversight. However, this is an important piece of information for potential buyers, all right, to have. And it should really be mentioned on the website. Because, I mean, in my opinion, regardless of the fact that you have to dial it down to 165 Hz to enable FreeSync, I still think it is a great versatile gaming monitor that I would easily recommend to anyone looking to game at 1440p. So the Prism Plus PG270 Pro comes in at about 509 Singapore dollars, alright? Now, Prism Plus actually has another 1440p gaming monitor called the F270i Pro, and I reviewed that as well. So the F270i Pro is another excellent 1440p gaming monitor, and it has a native resolution of 165 Hz, alright? Whereas the PG270 Pro has a native resolution of 180 Hz. However, having said that, if you want to use FreeSync on the monitor, you're gonna have to dial this down to 165 Hz anyway. Now, the F270i Pro comes in at about 469 Singapore dollars. Now, yes, that is cheaper, but honestly, I still find the PG270 Pro a better value right now. Mainly because of that amazing adjustable stand that makes it just so versatile for any use. And it's not just an added feature, right? It is really something that benefits your overall well-being. All right, so that about wraps up my review of the Prism Plus PG270 Pro. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP, and I'll see you real soon.